guys, it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video, and today I am doing a weekly reading vlog, okay? I cannot remember the last time I've done one of these. Now, look, I need to give y'all some context, okay? Because I am currently refilming this intro, okay? Because I filmed the intro obviously at the very beginning of the week, but then I went back and I watched it and I was like, girl, this is trash. So I'm just gonna refilm it. I am currently, as I'm filming this right now, I am like halfway through the vlog, if not a little over halfway through the vlog. So I'm gonna introduce the vlog and introduce the books just in the context of, hey, this is what I wanted to do. Okay, so bear with me here. All right, these are the 4 books that I want to try and get done in this vlog, okay? This vlog is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. I am going to try and talk about these books and go as in-depth as I can. So the first book that I want to read in this vlog is Nightstrider by Sophia Slade. This is about 2 parallel worlds that, who'd have guessed it, run parallel to one another. One is called the Reverie, and one is the Wake. The Wake has all the people, and the Reverie has all the dreams and nightmares and anything in between manifested by the people in the Wake, all right? And the conflict centers around this king that rules the Wake and the Reverie simultaneously, and this has never been seen before. It's why he's so dangerous, and there are people on in both worlds trying to take him out because he's a tyrant. So, when I started this vlog, okay, I was on page 306. Next, I want to read The Sons of El-Rey by Espinoza. This is a multi-generational family drama, all about Mexican wrestling, all right, lucha libre with luchadors, okay? This follows a grandfather, a father, and a grandson through their lives and the secrets that they keep from themselves and from each other, and how their lives are so engrossed in lucha libre. When I started this vlog, I was on page 255 out of 370 something. I want to read Cursebound by Saara El-Arifi. All right, this is the sequel to Feybound. So obviously we've got Fae, we've got elves, we've got the mention of humans, we have fantastical creatures, we have a really cool magic system, and when I started this vlog, I was on page 202 out of like 320 something. And then the last book that I want to read in this vlog is Bloodguard by Cecy Robson. All right, this is, I believe it's a romantasy about gladiators. And these gladiators include humans and magical creatures. All right, and the romance is between a gladiator and an elven princess. And at the start of this vlog, I was on page 208 out of like 400 something. Prepare for not only a vlog chock full of reading, hopefully some good rated star books, and also for the journey of sinuses royally kicking my ass. Okay, so let's get started. It's almost 2 o'clock, and my throat
hurts like a bitch, okay? I don't think it's strep because there's no white stuff and there's no like sickly sweet smell to my breath. I don't think it's strep. I just think it's allergies and drainage, you know, coming down, because everything's connected. Everything's connected nowadays. So I've got some hibiscus mullein tea. Hopefully that'll make my throat feel a little bit better. As you saw last night, I got to page 300 something, 301, okay? I have about like 70 something pages left. I'm gonna try and finish this one today. So we're gonna talk about this one. This one and Nightstrider, I'm not gonna lie, are probably the two books that I'm the most invested in right now. One, just because the story is really interesting. I like it when we talk about, it's gonna sound so superficial, but like family drama, and it like turns out to be a really big metaphor and everything like that. I really enjoy that. And also I just like wrestling. Okay, so it was really cool to be able to see the history of Lucha Libre summed up in a really interesting way in this book. You had like a bunch of different wrestlers mentioned, and some of them I even recognized, which was really cool. Mil Mascaras, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Sr. I was like, oh my gosh! I like it because it shows how realistically a family can break apart while at the same time showing how easy it is to come back together as a family. The only con that I have with this book, the only thing that's not quite making it a 5-star is that it's a little confusing to remember exactly where we are, all right? Because there's like 5 points of view. About 4 of these 5 points of views are dual timeline each. And so it's confusing to be able to tell where we are in time with each person. I'm gonna try and finish this today. As of right now, this feels like a 4-star book. Too much too soon. I've got my fan on, so my eyes watered. Growing into an allergy is so dead. It is so... Cause that's what my bitch ass did, all right? I grew into a pollen allergy. That should be decodified.
Electric chair.
Then I started reading Nightstrider, and look, this book is so good. Okay, it's got, it's got like 4 points of view. It's a dark fantasy, it's dark. There's this girl whose name is Saara, and she is able to go between the reverie and the wake incredibly easily, and that's never been seen before. And there's something about her power where she has the ability to essentially completely destroy the boundary between the wake and the reverie. There's like 3 sides vying to get Saara like under their influence and power. Para/King Warwick wants Saara in order to either probably break down the barrier between the wake and the reverie for some nefarious ass reason, or he just wants to keep her so that nobody else can use her against him. The rebels that are in the reverie that are against Warwick want Saara in order to be able to use her to fight against him, to destroy him. And then Isla, who's a queen in the wake, she is in charge of Saara, and she wants to keep her away from everybody because she's afraid of everybody using this literal child as a war weapon. I love it when fantasy books do this. They, first of all, content note, love you. Second of all, character list, pronunciation guide.
This is art, Mr. White.
Location names, pronunciation guide. Terms with noun and adjective. So I'm gonna try and finish this one today. And I'm gonna try and get to page 400 today. And then if we finish this one, then we'll go into either Cursebound or Bloodguard. Probably Bloodguard, because I'm not that deep into that book yet.
Later.
Ooh! Girl, we're maybe about 6 pages from the end. I was feeling that it was kind of a little underwhelming, you know, the end of this book, but that, whoa. It's not tea, but it's tea. Well, that is the first book of the vlog down, all right? I have finished The Sons of El Rey, and I am going to give it 4 stars. All right, I really, really enjoyed this. I love a good multi-generational drama. It did start to get a little bland towards the end, but those last 20 pages, the still overarching thing is that I while I do love a lot of POVs, you gotta handle those well or else it just gets really confusing, especially when you add dual timeline to the mix, especially on top of that, especially when you have a dual timeline and at least 4 of the 5 points of views. This is the first book of the vlog down, y'all, all right? So I am going to try and focus on Nightstrider for the rest of the night. Round of applause for me. Thank you very much for finishing this book. I have finally dictated the pattern, okay? I like to read books and finish books within 1 to 3 days, okay? And if that does not happen, if a book is not finished within 1 to 3 days, all right, I will drop that book. I will not pick it up for a month, at least a month, until I just get this random urge to pick it up again. Okay, I actually completely forgot where I'd left off in Nightstrider. Our main character, her name is, she goes by Nightstrider, but the name that she chose for herself is Ren, and she's a nightmare, right? And the nightmares pretty much all work for Para Warwick. So Ren has just come out of a situation where I assume her love interest, I really hope they're supposed to be love interests, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little iffy about them at the start, but now this one little thing, how easily am I entertained, okay? Because she essentially like comes out from this really dangerous situation. I'm trying not to spoil anybody here. The dude's name is El-Arifi, right? On 324 it says, she looked up at El-Arifi through tangled hair. His face was wrought with shock and concern. Strange, Ren thought distantly. She could not remember the last time someone had worried about her. We're in business, bitch! Oh my gosh! If the rest of this book is like this, yeah. Y'all aren't gonna know what to do with me.
Tomorrow.
I am on page 363 of Nightstrider, and y'all, El-Arifi's power is so cool. All nightmares have like powers. One of the general consensuses in the romantasy reading community, this isn't romantasy, but I think you'll understand what I mean when I explain it, okay? One of these consensuses is that the shadow daddy thing is getting a little bit overplayed. El-Arifi manipulates dark matter. Dark matter? That is so cool! This is probably one of the best fantasy books I've read in a while. He calls her Magpie because she has wings. I'm gonna cry. He's looking at her back, right? And Ren has wings. And just in a moment of just, I guess, quiet, they're beautiful, El-Arifi murmured. Excuse me? Your wings. I can't do it. I'll talk to y'all later. Ugh. That's the state of the union right now. I just finished Nightstrider. 5 stars. It's a great dark fantasy book. All right, the world is awesome. It is dense. You are thrown right into it. The characters, Ren, literally amazing. All right, and look, nothing in here is cringy. All right, and yes, I have a problem with finding quite a few things cringy. It's why I don't like to read rom-coms 9 times out of 10. If you find me liking a rom-com as a book, call the police, because that might not be me. The banter between All the love interests, honestly, seems fluid, seems realistic. It's funny. The writing style is also amazing. I can't stop gushing about this book. Read it. Okay? Read it. Here, look. Just so y'all can take your little screenshots and everything, okay? Nightstrider. Sophia Slade. The stakes are actually high. There's twists and turns, all right? There's an actually really cool dynamic that between two love interests that actually grows and feels realistic and not rushed. This book is so good, all right? The lore is great. The magic system is great. That is book 2 of the weekly reading vlog. Done. We have 2 books left. I'm gonna try and get farther in both of these tonight, but tomorrow I'm gonna be focusing majority on my anthropology final. Hopefully, I don't end up hating these.
6.5 hours later.
Hello. I am currently on page 262 of Bloodguard. First of all, can we please just look at how beautiful this book is? Like, are you kidding me? I am right now about to take my anthropology exam. And while I get everything ready, because I'm allowed to use notes, like any notes on the exam, I'm going to explain to y'all what Bloodguard is about. Bloodguard is basically like a gladiator story, and any gladiators who make it out of the ring are able to become what is known as a Bloodguard. The Bloodguard are an elite type of warrior taken from the surviving and winning gladiators to protect the crown. So we follow Leith, who is a gladiator, and he is like at the very end of his gladiatorship, and he has been sponsored by the other character that we follow. Her name is Maeve. She is an elf of the royal family, and she sponsors him because she is about to take the throne, but the only way she can take the throne is if she marries. And they end up having this deal where it's like, okay, yeah, no, I'll sponsor you, I'll keep you alive, and I will move your family that you've been fighting for this whole time and sending money back to. I'll move them to this kingdom so you can have a better eye on them, you can take care of them better, yada, yada, yada. And you can be king consort, you don't really have to do anything, just leave the ruling to me, right? And Leith is like, girl, work.
I see this as an absolute win.
And a romance obviously sparks between the two of them. Look, this is not gonna be a Pulitzer Prize winning book, okay? It's just not. There's mannerisms and phrases in this book that you would find in a more contemporary setting than you would in a high fantasy setting. But the story is entertaining, okay? I'm very entertained. The only problem is just gladiator stories in general, no matter what form of media they come in, I just don't like them. Okay, I liked Gladiator decently enough. I thought it was an okay movie. I think this general flippancy towards gladiator media is from my experience watching Spartacus Blood and Sand. That show is very violent. It's very graphic. The age that I watched Spartacus Blood and Sand was not an age I should have been watching it, okay, because there were quite a few things that happened in Spartacus Blood and Sand that I didn't really recognize or register as what they actually were. Like, I was watching rape scenes like damn near every episode. And I didn't realize just exactly what I had watched in my experience after watching Spartacus Blood and Sand particularly. And registering just what exactly I had consumed has honestly made me very, very wary or just not really interested in any gladiator media. I'm just not, okay? But Bloodguard, I have to say, is surprising me a lot. So I'm gonna try and get to page 300, or like somewhere, at least 300 tonight. As of right now, the stakes are really getting up there. No! No. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is awful. You know, You know, if I were in this book, certain people, not to spoil, would in fact be served a good plate of antifreeze sandwiches.
Bon appetit!
Y'all have got me so fucked up.
Eventually.
I am currently on page 339. I'm on chapter 53. I'm like a little less than 100 pages to the very end, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not that I don't like the book, but we're in that little, I guess, interim period where, you know, the climactic point has happened and we're getting to the final battle, but we're in that spot where we're getting to the final battle, and I just want to get to it, you know what I mean? One immediate pro for the book that I can most definitely tell y'all is the action scenes. All right, these action scenes are so well done. All right, I find myself flying through them. One immediate con is the stuff that these characters say, whether out loud or in their heads. Because, let me see, there's one instance on page 328 and another instance on page 329. The one on 328 is, if trees were middle fingers, I'd wave a forest at sorrow. And then on 329, by the phoenix sorrow, you truly put the dick in dictator.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
What are we doing? Right now, some really big stuff has happened. And yeah, no, we're getting to the final battle, but I need y'all to lock it up.
12 seconds later.
I finished Bloodguard. Finally! I've been like reading this book since March. Okay, so I'm very excited to have finally finished it. All right, I gave it 3 stars. It's not an amazing book, but it's not awful. All right, it was incredibly entertaining. Look, the writing is not the best. Okay, it's just not. At times it reads a little YA, and unfortunately that's due to how the dialogue and the inner monologue feels a lot of times. And let me think, I think the other thing that kept me from giving this 5 stars was just, as much as I loved the pacing, there were quite a few just plot holes. But other than that, I'm not gonna lie, I would be willing to pick the second book up. So if you are looking for a romantasy book that might actually be worth your time, coming from one of the biggest critiques of romantasy in the world, pick this one up. All right, it's fun, it's bloody, it's brutal, it's really action-packed. So with that is the 3rd book of the vlog down. All right, I only have to read Cursebound. We are finally gonna get to reading Cursebound. Like I said at the very beginning of the vlog, I am on page 202. So I only have about 120 something pages left. So I'm gonna try and get a good bit of the way into it tonight, and I'm gonna try and finish it tomorrow. I know that I haven't talked about Cursebound like at all in this vlog, but I just thought I would give y'all my 2 cents before we even go into it, of, you know, what I've read outside of the vlog. I really hope that the last 120 something pages of Cursebound are better than what I've been reading so far. I read Feybound and I gave it 3 stars. I thought that Feybound had so much potential, right? And I naturally expected, you know, the second book, in, as you do in any series, to take what the first book did and do it better. And so far that has not happened. Most of the criticisms that I had about Feybound have not been fixed in Cursebound. In fact, they've just been continued. One of them being Euron and Fury's romance. I love Euron and Fury. Separately as characters, together as a romantic couple. Nobody wants Euron and Fury to get together more than me. Okay, believe me on that. But if they get into an argument with one another, one of them will just get up and leave. And the argument will not be resolved. And then they'll come back, talk, maybe have a little sex, and then the same thing will happen.
And it will happen over and over and over again. And it just gets to a point where like, girl, no, I do want y'all to get together. But if I knew either one of y'all women in real life as a close friend, I'd be telling you to dump the other one. Because it's obviously not working. Do y'all like each other outside of sex? So that's like the first criticism that continues in Cursebound from Feybound. And then the second thing is, look, Lettel, still annoying as shit, okay? I hated Lettel so much from Feybound.
I'm talking hate.
She is immature. She is bratty. She's childish. Lettel could twitch her left nostril and I'd still be calling for the bitch's demise. And she's still as insufferable in Cursebound. So Cursebound is not just disappointing me by not fixing Feybound's problems, but it's also adding problems of its own into the mix, okay? For whatever reason, like maybe towards the middle of Cursebound, this random typo pattern just started. For whatever reason, commas are being used instead of periods. So like, what should be two separate sentences are really just one, connected by a comma. And then my second problem with Cursebound by itself is that it's a little boring. The story has kind of just meandered, if that makes any logical sense, all right? Which is wild because Cursebound is faster to read than Feybound. Okay, so I'm really counting on these last 120 something pages to pick it up because, girl, I would like to read the third book, but I would also like to enjoy the second book, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna get right into it. Oh, great. Oh man, this is just what we need. Please don't have this be miscommunication. I'm begging you. I have finished Cursebound. I want so badly to give this at least a 3-star. I can't. As of right now, Cursebound is getting 2 stars. I'm gonna give like final thoughts over everybody, you know, and like obviously a little outro tomorrow, or I guess really later today since it's like midnight. But final thoughts. Still had the same problems as Feybound. I said this earlier, there's this odd, what I classified as a typo, but I have to imagine that it's not really a typo because it happens so much. I'm trying to think, well, no, it doesn't make sense based on the grammar rules that I've learned, but for all I know, there could be, you know, a new comma rule out there that I have just that I just simply have no idea about. And then the second problem that really sticks out to me about this book is something that I've realized that Saara El-Arifi does in the other 3 books of hers that I've read. It's a plot device, or a storytelling device, I should say, that kind of dulls the story, because now I expect this huge element of your story to go the exact same way as every other book. So what's surprising, what's special about that? Not only in this book, not only in Feybound, but also the Final Strife, and also the Battle Drum, and what I have to assume is also going to happen in the Ending Fire when I read that book. And I can't really talk about it too much because it is spoilery. Knowing my dumbass, I'm still going to pick the 3rd book up. But yeah, no, Cursebound was a miss. And it pains me to say that, but that's the last book in the vlog, you guys. I'm so proud of myself, because I cannot remember the last time I've finished
4 books in 1 week. If I do say so myself. But I'm gonna go the hell to bed. So you guys, with that, it is now Monday, and I read all of the books that I wanted to read this week. We're just gonna go through them, a little recap. The Sons of El-Rey by Alex Espinoza. I gave this 4 stars. I really, really loved this. I love it when people air out their drama. I love it, okay? And plus, it's got Lucha Libre in it, and I'm a huge wrestling fan. Nightstrider by Sophia Slade. I ended up giving this 5 stars. This was an absolutely amazing fantasy book. I was gripped all the way up until the end, all right? And I honestly cannot wait until the second book comes out this year. Bloodguard by Cecy, Robson. And I gave this 3 stars. The action scenes were probably the best thing out of this book. Gosh, I had such a fun time with this book. This book was just entertaining. Cursebound by Saara El-Arifi, and I ended up giving it 2 stars. It didn't do what I was hoping it was gonna do, aka fix the problems that its predecessor Feybound had. It honestly just kept going with them, and then it had additional problems on its own. I do think at some points it does suffer from second book syndrome. 2, 3, 4, 5. Interessante. I hope that you guys will pick these books up, all right? If they sound interesting to you, pick them up and try them, okay? Because you never know what type of book you might find next, okay? So you guys, I hope that you've enjoyed. I hope you continue to look out for more stuff on my channel. I hope that you guys are staying safe. And lastly, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.